Michelle. Thank you for booking this reading today with me, Vanessa Moon. I'm so glad you're finally able to book a reading. Welcome to the world of astrology. All right, so I wanted to take my time and really actually dig in your chart a little bit and sit with it before I explain it to you because it's kind of intricate and I like it. All right, so here we go. So, how this kind of works is you have this is your astrological natal chart, okay? For you, born June 8th, 1958 at 2:53 p.m., okay? And so what this means is it's basically a snapshot of where all the planets were and where the asteroids I have down here were at the moment you were born. And what that gives us is it kind of puts like to explain astrology in a little nerdy nutshell so you can kind of understand how we get this information is that we can only look at things from like a snapshot point of view, but this is actually, you have to picture it being like a 3D image. So this will be like Earth, right? This round thing, this round circle, and then all these little points are the kind of the light that is blocked or flared energy off of the planets that are surrounding Earth at this moment you were born. So it means like all of the different beams of light emanating from the different planets and from the sun, reflecting that light from the moon all onto planet Earth at the moment you were born, gives us an idea of the energies that you're affected by when you were born. And then you take that kind of energy and plug it into what's going on in the planet on a daily basis, and you can get kind of how you work with the flow of the planet. Okay, so it's like your little own puzzle piece and how you fit into the greater puzzle piece. So when you were born, the sun was in Gemini. So what happens is in astrology, this is Gemini right here, and in astrology, the sun would be, this is the little symbol for the sun. And so they're saying that like if this is Earth, like, or whatever, the points of the sky or the space in the sky that Gemini takes up, this is right here, and there's Cancer, then this is Leo, this is Virgo. The sun was over here when you were born, facing Earth this way. So you're a Gemini. The reason why we say you're a Gemini is because the sun is the most supercharged star in our galaxy. It's the most supercharged planet, star, whatever you want to call it. And it kind of, its light emanates on all the planets in our galaxy and fuels all the planets. Gives us light for our planet to grow and all the other planets. Therefore, it is the most heaviest influence on your chart. So everything we talk about today is going to be influenced by the fact that you're a sun in Gemini. Okay? All right. So next we have, I'm going to tell you what you are, and then I'm going to explain each one. All right. So then we have the moon. The moon, which is right here, was in Pisces, which is super special. We'll talk about that. In your 5th house. So what the house is, that's a little bit harder to explain, but if you look at this axis here, where we have this cross here, where we have the horizontal axis here and the vertical axis here, basically it's saying that when you were born, the sun was here, over here in Gemini, and it was rising, and the sunlight had reached this part of the galaxy at the moment you were born. It had reached Libra. So at 2:53 p.m., the sun was stretched all the way, its light was stretched all the way to Libra. And that point where the sun hits dark side of the moon, boom, that's the ascendant line. So your rising sign is Libra, because Libra's over here, and that's where it stopped. We plot these points right here where it crosses and then crosses here to know your midheaven. Your midheaven is in Cancer. And actually, that's your 10th house. So your 10th house Cancer means, to give you a little clue about that, means that you everything is about family for you. Everything in your life is about family. Your highest point of karma, well, I'll say your highest point of karma, but your career even could revolve around families. Family, you have an innate understanding of what a home is. All right, so your ascendant, which would be down here, is Libra. I actually pulled up this chart over here so you could see it in actually labeled so it's not so confusing for you. Let me pull it up here. Yeah. So Sun in Gemini, Ascendant Libra, Moon in Pisces. Okay. All right. So now we have your, and like I said, Ascendant. So why does Ascendant matter? So we know Sun matters because your Sun in Gemini kind of influences every aspect of all the planets in your chart. So if you're a Moon in Pisces, which means you're a natural born psychic, it means in a Gemini way because your Sun is in Gemini. Okay, so your rising sign, which is in Libra, which represents balance, harmony, the finer things in life, law, order, justice, things that are fair, balance, politics. Okay, that's how you move through life. That's how you navigate life, because that's what the rising sign represents. It represents the kind of obstacles that we incur right directly in front of us because of the way we are. So you move through life as a Libra, fair, balance, liking the finer things in life, liking the arts, liking culture, liking things that look nice. To be honest, as a Libra, wanting to hear all points of view, maybe always having to be the person in the situation that has to create the fair and balancedness of a situation. I mean, you could see all points of view, you could see all sides, especially being a Pisces moon. You can feel things. So in a Gemini way, you're going to always be in two minds because that's what the Sun represents, being in Gemini. So for you, that's an air rising because Libra is an air sign. It falls under the element of air, which means you are logical. You're a communicator. You like balance. That's Libra, likes balance and air. But Gemini always wants to know, well, what about this? Always kind of has a devil's advocate point of view, meaning like always in two minds. We have this, but then what about that? Well, we have this. Well, what about that? So if you're a Sun in Gemini and you're constantly questioning things, because Gemini represents curiosity, getting to the digging through things and finding the true meaning so you can make a decision right away, being good at multiple things or having your hand in every pot because you can understand things. But you're a Libra, you're moving through life as a Libra, being a Libra rising. So you're going to look for the fair and balanced point of view. Gemini and Libra get along very well. They're both ruled by air, which is like, again, logic, communication, data, details, the truth. So that's a very, very, very good combination to be a Libra rising and a Gemini sun, because things kind of, you're able to get to the point very easily. You can calm yourself down almost. But you can get worked up rather easily too because you have so much air, because there's nothing really grounding that air to really give you those answers you seek. Therefore, with a Pisces moon, which leads me to your moon sign being in Pisces, down here in your 5th and 6th house, this is your daily, well, it's really in your 5th house. I'll correct myself there. This is how you get creative, because your moon is in Pisces. So I pulled this up for you so we could have something to look at. So for the moon in Pisces in your 5th house, right? The 5th house represents creativity. It represents children. It represents the sign of Leo. So it's like how you have dominion over things, okay? So, well, actually, let me backtrack for a second so I don't confuse you, because I know I'm going a little fast. Where I'm saying houses is because what we have here with your Libra, that horizon line right here in your chart, we'll say the first house is there, which represents kind of how we plot the points. So the first house represents Aries. The second house represents Taurus. The third, Gemini. The fourth, Cancer. The fifth, Leo. The sixth, Virgo. The seventh, Libra. The eighth, Scorpio. The ninth, Sagittarius. The 10th, Capricorn. The 11th, Aquarius. And the 12th, Pisces. Now, I probably just confused you. Follow me here. In astrology, this is how it gets all, This is why you need someone to help you interpret it. The zodiac, it's literally just all the planets. Each house is represented by a planet. Okay, let's just put it like that. So I'll actually type this in so you can understand. Houses in astrology. All right. So see, yeah, this is pretty easy. Like Wiki just made it easy for you. Let's see it right here. All right. So houses in astrology. So the zodiac wheel, okay, it goes by a different like the new year in the zodiac is Aries, okay? It's not January. So Aries season would be April. So the new year in the zodiac is April. So it just basically goes through the 12 months of the year on a different calendar. So if the first month is April, it would be Aries. The second month is May, it would be Taurus. The third month is June, it would be Gemini. So it's like that. So that's how we start counting what house you're in and how to look at it versus where that house falls on the zodiac wheel. Okay, so your first house is in Libra, which is why you're a Libra ascendant. So for you are going to have your house of identity in Libra, which is your first house, your house of self, which is what Aries represents. It represents being about yourself, about your physical appearance, your traits, your characteristics. Look, it says resourcefulness, outlook, impressions, ego, beginnings, initiatives. There's so much more than that. But it represents Aries, god of war. Okay? So for you, and back to what I was saying here, with you being a Libra ascendant and your first house being in Libra, you are going to be, you're going to like to present yourself as a Libra would present yourself, because that's Aries house of self falling in Libra. Okay, well, that energy is actually a square energy, but for you, it's blessed because you have a trine here. So it's saying that you have Jupiter here in your first house with Libra in your ascendant house. So your first house, your identity is extremely blessed. Like with having Jupiter in your first house, you have a huge, expansive personality that keeps changing and keeps growing and keeps wanting to change, even wanting to take risks to change. And when you do, you receive blessings from the universe. Like you literally, everything goes in your favor. Good fortune. It's just how you recreate and reinvent yourself will always be critical to your personality because you have Jupiter there. Jupiter represents growth, expansiveness. It's also the planet of good luck. So Jupiter was in your zone of your planet of good luck was in your first house, your rising, which your sun, your moon, and your rising are the biggest parts of your personality when we analyze a birth chart. Everything else, it comes a little bit after that, because in birth charts, the sun, the moon, and the rising are kind of like, the sun is who you're becoming, okay? You're always becoming your sun. You're growing into a Gemini. The moon is it's going to be your soul, your mood. Your moon is your mood. So your mood is your Pisces. That's like who you are on the inside. So you're like a Pisces on the inside, right? Like your soul, like where you're most driven and drawn to in your darkest part of you is going to be a Pisces. But your your rising being a Libra means how you present in the world when you first start out on your journey of learning, of navigating through life. You're presenting as a Libra. So you're presenting as a Libra, becoming a Gemini with the soul of a Pisces. So that's why your sun, your moon, your rising, you'll hear people bring that up a lot when they talk about birth charts or they talk about their personalities after they get their birth chart done. That's why they talk about that. So for you, you have Jupiter in your first house in your rising, so you're always going to be like, Jupiter is a large planet, and whenever it's in whenever you have a planet in a house, okay, it aspects that. It's almost like an obstacle that you have to overcome within that zone of your life, okay, that zone of your chart. So for you in your identity zone, you have a planet, you have Jupiter there. So you also have your North Node there, though. So your North Node, again, this is a very charmed, this is why I said it's a little bit more complicated to explain, but you have just know, I'm here to explain to you, you have a very blessed chart, my dear. So with the North Node being conjunct Jupiter, conjunct meaning together, okay, in the same zone of your chart being Libra here, which is also your rising, which is meaning your one of your most highly aspected parts of your chart, which means one of the more influential parts of your chart, has two very influential planets, being your North Node, which is your North Star, where the North Star was when you were born, and Jupiter, which is one of the more influential planets that can be in your chart besides the sun. Okay, so with that being said, it means that you're always going to have like a burning sensation, like a burning desire, not burning sensation, but like a burning desire to achieve like your life's purpose. And anytime you try to go for it, you're going to always have things work in your favor in a huge, expansive, beautiful way, because you have truth, law, order, justice, Jupiter, which also represents traveling as well. So more, if as long as you kind of like travel, and because Jupiter represents the sign of Sagittarius, which is all about travel. So as long as you go towards the long view, looking at the higher calling or higher purpose, or trying to educate people with a higher mind or philosophical point of view, where it comes to law, order, fairness, balance, beauty, art, culture, and doing things, feeling like this gives you a purpose in life, things will always change for the better in your life. So that's really important, and I wanted to kind of hone in on that with your chart. Anything you have, in you that makes you and drives you to do better is actually for the greater good of like all people. You are an innately good person. That is what I got from your chart. I kind of love your chart. Okay, everybody don't have this kind of chart. They really don't. Whenever you see a chart and it's like all these plot points all over the place, that denotes you being a very like blessed individual. When I say blessed, I mean like you were literally put here to do good. You're a do-gooder, and it's for a reason. You're supposed to change and grow for a reason. How you change and grow is what's best for everyone. Your opinion matters. All right, so get off my soapbox here and let's read about your moon sign. So your moon sign is in Pisces. So that's one of the more I put this here not to help myself, but to help you have a visual while I talk, because I could really just talk and just be a boring video of me talking, but I try to give you some context with the websites I pull up. All right, so your moon is in Pisces, and I want to talk a little bit about this. I can't explain every aspect of your chart. I'll be talking for 3 hours and you'll just get lost. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna pull up the main things. I'm gonna try to go through an overview of each planet, but I'm gonna focus right now on the moon, sun, and rising. Okay, but I'm going to go through each one and give you a light explanation, and then hone in on why your chart is so important. I'm starting to touch on it now. So again, your moon is in Pisces in your 5th house. So back to that. So Pisces represents spirituality. Okay, and it is ruled by the 12th house of the zodiac. It rules the 12th house. It's also ruled by the planet Neptune. So that represents, to give you an idea, Pisces is a water sign, okay? So water are signs that are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpios, and they are the signs of love, okay? So water represents, water, and it moves through everything in the entire globe, and we all need a little bit of love, right? So you are a water moon. That's important because the moon itself is a planet ruled by water. It is ruled by Cancer, which is another water sign. It is also ruled by Pisces in traditional astrology. So, or New Age, or however you want to call it, it has a huge connection to Pisces as well. So what that means for you is Neptune, being a planet that is a water planet. It is a gaseous water planet. And so Pisces represents the element of water when water is turning to gas. Therefore, that means, how does that relate to spirituality? Well, it's like a heaven and hell energy. It can go from cold as ice, right? The depths of the deep blue sea, up to a gaseous state. And that just shows us that water, no matter how it has dissipated, and even if it disappears, it's never truly gone. It's in the smallest particles, right? It can become air. And so for you, that means that your moon which is ruled, moon is intuitively, natively ruled by Cancer, which is watery energy, which is intuitive energy, which represents the mother. The part of you that, and the moon of you, which is our mood, but for me also represents our womb, okay? The darkest part of us, the unknown, it's where we pull out our spirituality. So that's why it's saying your moon is the part of you where you access the deepest parts of yourself to find your innate spirituality, who you are. And that's where we find our that's where we find source. So where the moon is in our chart shows us how we access source on the deepest level of our internal being. And so how you access source is in a Piscean way, being that the moon was in Pisces when you were born. So the Pisces is the only natural psychic of the zodiac, only natural born psychic, simply because it represents Neptune, which is all water. Like I told you, it's the gaseous state of water. Neptune is a gassy planet. It's all water gas. So it's saying that those little gas droplets can exist in every single part of the universe, almost, and of your universe, of anyone else's universe. Therefore, that's why Pisces is a natural born psychic, because water represents thoughts, feelings, not thoughts, feelings, emotions, love, how we love, who we love. Just the softest, most gentle, loving parts of us are the watery parts of us, emotion. The moon is ruled by Cancer, which is a water sign, which directs, they say the moon reflects the light of the sun onto the planet Earth and directs all of the emotions within us. Our bodies are 65% water, as the planet is also. And so the moon rules the tides, right? So when the moon is in the zone of Pisces when you were born, and so when the moon being in the zone of Pisces, it means that the moon is comfortable there, it's happy there, it's in a place where it's understood. It's all watery, swampy water, and it gets to Pisces zone, and it feels like it can spread its wings a little bit. It can actually expand, it can actually grow, it can actually integrate a little bit with this energy and become more able to see all points of view. Pisces also is ruler of the 12th house, which is the very last house of the zodiac, which means the wheel has traveled all the way around, which means there's a little bit of every zodiac sign in Pisces. It understands everything. It can also see the future, because it's like that integration of those little droplets of water. It's almost like humidity. It's like something that's able to go from a deep blue pond that can go to be humidity and gaseous and just integrate with anything. It's almost like being able to be a fly on the wall at all times, as well as able to being present in the same moment, which is why Pisces is ruled by the fish, two fish. One can swim upstream while one can stay downstream. You get it? Like, you can be in two places at once in your soul. So it's saying that in your soul, you can see and feel people's emotions before they even come to a room. You can also be present with someone and completely see their point of view just by feeling it. You can feel people's point. It's almost like you have no judgment, because you are so compassionate. You're so compassionate to understand. How could you judge when you can feel what they're going through? You can feel how sorry they are. You can feel how happy they are. You can feel how bad they are. And so that's what being a Pisces moon means. It means that you have nothing but to trust your gut, because your intuition is correct at all times. But God don't make mistakes. You're born with the Gemini sun, which means in a Gemini way, you're always in two minds trying to figure out, well, if I feel this, but I'm seeing this, but what if this, but what if that? Your task is to always follow your intuition, because you're a Libra rising, which means you move in a fair and balanced way. You're supposed to question things, because if your intuition tells you something and then you see something happen a certain way, you're going to question it. And then you always need to default on your intuition, because your intuition is correct. You're a Pisces. So your Gemini is going to want to question, because Gemini is all logic. Air is all logic. But your moon is water. Water moon is all feeling. So it's important for you to go off feeling first and then develop logic around it, and you'll never be wrong, because you have that Libra, that balance in you that's going to stop you when you get too emotional or too logical. To be honest, I don't want to say problem. Your challenge will always be, don't be too logical, because you grow and expand when you take risks. because you have Jupiter in your rising, in your Libra. So you're supposed to be the one risk taker that bets on your intuition, and it's always going to be right because it's in your life purpose. Your North Node is there. All right. So now you also have Venus in Taurus, okay? So I pulled that up for you as well. I didn't even talk about what house. Let me backtrack. I'm sorry. Let's go back to your moon in Pisces. With your moon being in Pisces in the 5th house, okay? So that represents the 5th house represents creativity. It's a Leo energy. So it's how you rule over your kingdom dominion, how you love on your kids, your children, your family, how your dating life goes, romance, the kind of activities you like to do. So because you have it in Pisces, Pisces represents like the arts and music and all that. So you'll be a really, really, and it says it here too, I think. Yeah. You'd be really, really, really remiss if you did not really indulge in music. You have an innate love of music that will help calm it gets you in a meditative energy to help you figure things out. Also, signs are everywhere for you. So you're going to be a person that in the 5th house, you create things by following the signs. Where you're passionately driven should always align with what it's like a very dreamy energy you have. Like, that's actually very creative for you. So lean into that. You can get, yeah, exactly. It says creativity brings forth something new and imaginative. Also, because it's a very passionate energy, the more passionate, even like sexuality, creativity, that's all one thing for you. It's almost like you get a hard on for like a good romance novel or a good movie, and that's a beautiful thing for you because it gives you the type of focus to kind of help you align with whatever it is you're trying to do. It's almost like a superpower to use your creativity to help you hone in on what exactly it is you need to do. So if you're the type of person that if you don't know what to do, you can almost watch a movie and it'll put you in a dreamy state where you're like, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to travel to here. I say travel because your sun in Gemini is in the 9th house, and that's a travel house, okay? So that's how you deal with the outside world, how you deal with people, how you're learning, going to different places, learning from different people, places, and things. You could have just watched a movie that said, I want to go to Egypt, and then you go to Egypt and you get the biggest spark of inspiration in your life, because that's kind of how you work. You work as an intuitive being, and you should always follow that. So you have Mars in Aries in your 6th house. Now Mars represents the more masculine energy in our chart. I'm going to talk about your Mars before I talk about your Venus, because your Mars and your Venus are beautiful. Beautiful. You have the most beautiful chart, Michelle. I cannot express it enough. Because in a birth chart, the things that like help us are when our planets are in good places. Basically, like the sun being in Gemini, well, the sun is a natural born Leo. So the sun in the 9th house is good because that's a fiery energy and an air energy. The sun can work good there. It can manage that. It can shine a little bright. So that means you're extremely likable. People like you. You have especially with a Libra rising, people like you. People enjoy you. And in your 1st house is in Libra, which is, 1st house is a fiery energy too. It's how we identify. So a fiery energy with a Libra, you calm your own self down. You're your own worst enemy. People want you to shine brighter. With that Aries energy, it's a square. So it's kind of hard for you to shine bright sometimes. You don't want to be too big or too boastful because you have so much to offer. So you kind of measure yourself. And I bring that up because you have Mars in Aries. So for you having Mars in Aries, Mars is from Aries. That's where it's from. So that's the planet not working against its own self in the house it's in. So you know how to work your Mars energy very well. It's exactly how you are. How you show up is exactly who you are, which is like really cool. So your Mars energy being in Aries means that you're a super Mars person when you're in your Mars energy. So for example, right? Mars represents how we get angry, how we have sex. It's how we act out our passions. It also represents how we fight, how we assert our masculine energy, our inner masculine energy. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So your Mars is asserted in the most powerful way because it's there's nothing blocking it. Like my Mars is in Aquarius, so it's in detriment there. Aquarius is not an energy Mars likes to be in. It's like boring for Mars. It's just kind of like it's kind of an alien position. It's far away. It's bored. It's not around everyone. Well, Mars is in Aries. It's fun. It wants to be in the mix. It wants to play. It wants to do combat. It wants to build things, destroy things. It wants to get in there, dig in. Like, let's do it. So your Mars was, when you were born, Mars was in Aries. It was on fire. It was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm with everybody. I'm close to Earth. Because Mars is close to Earth, and it's like, oh, we're hanging out, we're with all the friends, we're doing it. It's a childlike energy, but it's a go-getter. It likes to create things. It's also God of War, destroy things for the sake of building something better. Okay, so it can get into trouble sometimes. So your Mars can get into trouble sometimes. It's a little feisty. It's in its home planet. It has all its energy. It's in its home position, I should say, in Aries. So, but it's in your 6th house, which is your house of work, the house of Virgo. So it's telling you, like, when it comes to work, you can be combative, you can be pushy, you can be a go-getter, you can be an upstarter, you can get into little microaggressions because you're so excited, because you just know what to do, or so you think. So that's what the theme I'm getting with your chart, okay? Because you have Gemini Sun, because you have Moon in Pisces. Geminis are so quick to figure things out that they miss things. Okay, so there's that. Then you have Moon in Pisces. So Moon in Pisces means you would intuitively know. So you feel so powerfully strong about some things, and you know things so strongly sometimes that you can again be quick to judge, or you might even count out your own intuition because you're like, I don't want to be wrong, because you have that air sun and air rising, Gemini and Libra. So your Libra rising will try to like figure things out. Then you have a Mars in Aries, which is like, no, I got this. But you're having an internal battle with yourself before you even present your opinion to the outside world. So you're your own worst enemy. Because you have this innate, you're literally, I think that's perfectly makes sense as to why you have Jupiter in the 1st house. Every time you grow and expand and take risks and bet on yourself and stop talking yourself out of stuff, you have such great fortune. Things just go your way. So always do that. Always challenge your own self to the point where you follow your gut instinct and your intuition, and boom, you'll be right. All right. So I explained your Jupiter. It's in your 1st house. Okay, so let's talk about your Venus. All right. So Venus is how we love, what we love, who we love, how we love it, how we love things being done, how we grow. When we all grow in love, Venus was like basically the Garden of Eden. So it represents how we, what brings us harmony, okay? What brings us harmony. So for you, your Venus is in Taurus. This is another delightful aspect, Michelle, because Venus being in Taurus represents, well, I'll just tell you this. Taurus is ruled by Venus, similar to how I told you Mars is ruled by Aries. So being that Taurus is ruled by Venus and your Venus is in Taurus, Venus was home when you were born. She was home, able to, it's like being on steroids when you're home and not in another space where outside of your own space when someone is born. So the fact that Venus was in Taurus when you were born and Mars was in Aries, it means you have a very strong masculine energy in you and a very strong Taurus feminine energy in you. Again, inner combat. Your masculine fights your feminine. Your feminine fights your masculine. Like inner combat. And I get why you have such good fortune in your 1st house. How you navigate things with Jupiter being there. Being like, if you just attack things head on, look at the overarching point of view. Look at the long view. Take the higher road. Take like the philosophical point of view. It's almost like the energy of a college student. Like, let's analyze this from all points of view and take what's for the greater good of the people, or take the biggest risk for change, and boom, because you're having those inner battles that we're all going to have within you first, and then you have that Pisces intuition where you already foresaw the future. You know things, so it's like you don't ever doubt yourself because you're supposed to be that way. So with Venus and Taurus, it's saying that Venus was home when you were born in her natural habitat. She has 2 natural habitats, Libra and Taurus. You have Venus in Taurus. Taurus represents sensuality, relationships, bank accounts, wealth management, the home. It also is a sign of the Empress, the divine feminine. So it's meaning like growing, being everybody's mama, everybody's mother. You nurture everyone. You know how to nurture people. And she's a bully too. She'll bully you into nurturing you. Like, she's that loving. It's great. Like, it's the best kind. So it also represents creativity in terms of a self-made business, self-made millionaire is the sign of Taurus, with the Earth Mother Venus being there. So it's like your Venus is you love in a way that's enduring, everlasting. You will put up with everybody's stuff, because you love unconditionally, to the point where you have to nurture and grow something almost at your own detriment. So you won't let go sometimes when you should let go. So you have Venus in your 8th house. So your 8th house represents Scorpio. Venus does not like being in Scorpio. So with it being in your personal 8th house, though, it means that Venus was in Taurus in a highly aspected place when you were born, but it's at the part of an angle of your chart where you're going to experience changes in regards to debt, inheritance, life, death, the occult sciences, mysteries of the universe. That's how and what you love. It also represents how we are in relationships with our spouse. So Venus in Taurus represents you love relationships, but in your 8th house it represents like a husband energy, a spouse energy. You will hold on to your spouse, because in Scorpio land, which is the 8th house, Taurus and Scorpios are opposite. You'll hold on to it at a fault. So sometimes you can be in many, many relationships over and over again. It can represent multiple marriages when you have Venus in the 8th house. It also represents at some point you will have some type of inheritance that you will have a huge inheritance, or some type of inheritance. I don't know if it's going to be huge, but definitely an inheritance will come to you, that family or something. I brought this up because there's a lot of themes here with it being the 8th house. So it's saying that, I wanted to explain this well. That's why I wanted to remind myself how to explain this to you. Right. It says joint ownership of communal things fall under this. Leases, debts, inheritance, borrowed objects, taxes, alimony, insurance, financial and spiritual support from your spouse, debt to others. But you have Venus here. So it's like Venus makes all those things grow. So these are all the things that you could come in contact with. But because it's in your 8th house, something negative could happen for your highest good. That's just how it works. So somebody's horrible secret or sexual taboo you could find out about and be in a relationship with this person, but it will lead to financial wealth and growth for you. They were supposed to encounter you, and they would go through this, and it might hurt you, but it makes you grow, because it helps you to choose where to live and die in relationships. That's what it represents. So if you have a Venus in Taurus and you're holding on to sometimes wanting things to grow, because it's in the 8th house, you're going to experience something that works against you in a negative way to make you stop doing that. And then the minute you stop doing that, you have you have wealth among wealth within that area of your life. As long as you choose to live and die for something, it means like, okay, for example, right? You could have had a bad relationship that dragged on, but you learned a valuable lesson from it. And as soon as you stop doing that, boom, every time you have the next relationship after that, you have extremely good luck, good fortune, high. Other people's downfall is your biggest gain, because it's like you give to the wrong thing. But once you start giving to the right thing, it's like it increases exponentially. So that's what your Venus is. It's like you tend to love the, like it says here, forbidden love, right? Hidden feelings. You fall in love with the quote unquote wrong things. It might not actually be a wrong thing, but it's like only you can love it that way. And you kind of, even though it's like things learn from you, right? But then you learn from it, but you benefit from it so much. Like, it's almost like unconditionally, it's like you're a martyr for love. I don't know how to explain it. You probably understand this more than I can, because it's you, right? But it's saying you lack self-discipline. So that's what you have to learn. You're an overgiver, so you have to only date or be around, period. Work with, date, whoever, around overgivers, because you have that 8th house energy right there. You're always going to show people something about you is a mirror for people, but you're going to have great fortune because of it, okay? So the reason why we want to talk the most about Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, and we'll talk about your Mercury, is because those are the planets that make up who you are on the inside, okay? Now, the other planets just show how you move about life and the obstacles you'll face in life, but they don't represent like who you are as a person, like your identity, okay? So Venus, I'm sorry, we talked about Venus. So Mercury, your Mercury is in Gemini. So your Mercury is in Gemini in your 8th house as well. Your 8th house over here has Mercury there, 8th house. It's on the cusp of that 9th house. So it's saying that when you have to learn how to speak your mind. You have an obstacle there because Mercury's there, but it's in Gemini. Gemini is at home in Mercury. That's another home placement for the planet. So that means your style of communication is as a Gemini would communicate. Probably all over the place. One minute you mean passionate about this. The next minute you're passionate about a completely different opposite point of view, or you're not sure. You could switch your mind up at any minute, but it's because you're a genius. It's like you just can see everything. You're very, very intelligent. It represents extreme intelligence. And so because of that, you can, like, again, second guess yourself at all times, but you have an aptitude for communicating. You have the gift of gab. You, again, extremely likable, childlike energy, fun. Your mind can erase a lot, so it's hard for you to pay attention, but because it's in the 8th house, you will grow and change through this energy, and it will only make you better. Okay, it'll only make you more able to deal with the outside world. It's almost like, as well, being on the cusp of your 8th house, it's almost like you're so good at communicating with this kind of stuff, like astrology, like anything new, anything occult science, right? Anything other when it comes to spirituality, that's going to be a natural curiosity for you, and you're going to be a natural detective about it. And it's almost for you to how it reflects and relates on you will always communicate to the outside world and make it better for everyone else. Like, you're like a conduit for this stuff. Like, when you go out talk to your friends, when you talk about stuff, they listen. They feel like you're quirky, but you have a way of making everything feel okay. Like, making astrology cool, making traveling cool, making growing and changing cool, making talking about intuition cool, because you are kind of that bridge, that gap for people. The way you approach things and your communication style makes everyone else understand things a little better. When you naturally question things, everyone else had those same questions too. And so when you understand things, it makes everyone else understand things a little better because you're so likable. So now those are your inner planets, okay? So now you have Jupiter, like we talked about, being in Libra. So that just means when you go about life, your identity changes when you travel, when you're fair and balanced. Also, it has to do with legal matters and issues of the law. So it's saying that you might have something that really changes your life, a legal situation, or even a marriage partnership that could change your life at some point, a great fortune in a marriage partnership. Like, you could marry someone that could really be beneficial to you. You have that energy in your chart. All right, so your Saturn is in Sagittarius. Saturn is our lesson, where we learn hard lessons, hard knocks. It also provides blocks in our path for us to deal with our karma, our past life karma, and learn from it. So yours is in Sagittarius. So with your Saturn down here in Sagittarius, in your 3rd house. So your 3rd house is your house of siblings, short-term travel, communication. I said short distance travel. How we get along with people. So the 3rd house also represents, like for example, it can be how we perceive others to be, and how we work with others to bring in what we really want to create. Okay, so it's like how we learn from everyone else and where we choose to go in our daily everyday lives and deal with people in our daily everyday lives, so we can learn from those people. Well, you have Saturn there, so with that, it's saying that you always want to travel far away with Sagittarius to get higher learning and be popular amongst the people and bring back those things to the people you love in your daily life. Okay, but there might have been an obstacle there. Like you could have, every time you try to do something, you can't do it. Like you can't travel the way you want to travel because you have this responsibility or that responsibility. You also have hard lessons there with your siblings and people in your life could have really put a block or obstacle on you in some way, in karmic way. So that could be negative ways, like how they could have done something to you to block you, like physically you could actually have a huge problem with your siblings, or the people around you, friends, people around you. Or it could also be that you feel like the need to teach them something or get away, or they're always trying to teach you something, or maybe you were always supposed to find your voice and learn how to teach them, because it is directly as facing your Gemini. Oh wow, look, you have a see, just getting into some deep astrology, but I'll just read it for you. So for you, directly across the charts shining on you, you have a part of fortune there. Yeah, because you have a direct aspect. So basically your sun is shining directly on your third house, your ninth house to your third house. So it's saying that you're always supposed to go through these things and learn from the challenges and obstacles you face in your local community to bring you closer to the people in your local community later on. Like you're always supposed to be the person that like leaves town, goes away, comes back, learns something, and brings it back to teach everyone else how to live a better life. So you were supposed to face adversity. You're supposed to be the one that didn't fit in. Okay, your fortune lies in that. You may feel that way on the inside, but no one could know that on the outside. By the way, okay. Very good at blending in. So then you have, so that's kind of like an overview of your Saturn. Your Saturn has obstacles when it comes to Sagittarius energy things. So in your third house. So like I said, siblings, you could have hard knocks and karmic lessons, life path lessons, just obstacles that are extremely hard to get over. But once you get over them, you have you're permanently changed for the better. Okay. Permanently. So, but if you don't overcome these things, they will always plague you. So you are always supposed to be a person that finds the way to break the mold in your own limitations within your local community and within your family and communicating with them. You're always going to have those issues, but the sun shines a light on you there. So your identity is shaped by these things, by learning how to deal with people in these ways. That's that outside world energy I was talking about. So then you have Uranus in Leo. They had a cute explanation here. So with Uranus being in Leo, that's kind of how we revolutionize, how we change. It says you represent individual liberty, right? So right, how we revolutionize things when we go through our own personal breakthroughs, how we translate that to the outside community and do something greater good in the world. And it changes everyone else's world around us, which internally changes our world to make it more comfortable. So for you, yours is in Leo. So Leo is just like, it has to roar. So it's like when you feel like there's needing change, or you feel something needs to turn around, you're roaring about it. Also, your rebellious energy is in Leo. So you're so prideful when it comes to your own convictions. People cannot just break you down or tear you down. You're going to fight back. Because you need to stand up. It's like you have your own way of doing things, and you will do things that way. See, I'm getting to be like you now, like more Leo-ish when I talk about this, because it's like, no, you won't be silenced. But it's also about like feeling good, looking good, feeling praiseworthy, feeling like, you know what, I'm a rebel when it comes to like feeling proud of myself. Like I have to do something where I feel like I can be proud of myself and what I've done. Okay. That's why I said you have to have an independent career that you get very bored with dull routines. And something that has a little risk and uncertainty around it. You are a little eccentric, right? It's like, again, see that same theme, like not being afraid to be yourself. That's where your wounding sits too with your Chiron. I'll touch on that a little bit. Chiron is our wounded warrior. Yours is in Aquarius. So it's like you feel like you're an alien, and it's like you feel like sometimes you could feel like, am I hurting myself, or am I hurting? You have it right here in your fifth house. So it's like you're supposed to be creatively like weird. You're supposed to be creatively interesting, but it's in your Chiron. You can feel like you're hurting yourself by not being like everyone else or trying to fit in, but you're supposed to be the outsider. You're supposed to be more innovative. You're supposed to think outside of the box. You're supposed to be a little more quiet and reserved, but you can feel like it works against you when you're around other people, or you're trying to be even with kids, or but you're supposed to be the one that comes up with the quirky ideas, and that's who you are. Then you have Neptune in Scorpio. So Neptune is our spirituality. So for you, you're just going to always, Scorpio is a natural occultist. So the more you dive into the matters of the occult and try to understand them for yourself, this is like, okay, so for example, I'm not a Neptune in Scorpio, but I am mostly Scorpio in my chart. So we can relate here. Like, I was raised Catholic, and I come from a very Christian family. My sister's a pastor, and my mom's side, my sister's a pastor. My dad's side is extremely into the church, Baptists. They're all deacons, and my mom's side is everyone went to Catholic school, was raised super Catholic, and Protestant, or we call it the Anglican Church. So basically, and I'm West Indian, so we're super religious family. I was raised in a church, and so for me to be an astrologist and a tarot reader is insane. But it's okay. Everyone respects me. They actually love me, and they understand me. It took a while, but they really understand because I've always been this way, and I've always been into learning things from a educational and a academic point of view rather than just a hunch. This is my passion, and because it's my passion, and because I'm able to talk about things from a biblical standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, from all the books I've read, no one in my family is going to tell me not to do what I love to do. And because I've made a career out of it, they actually look at me as an expert. They look at me as weird. They don't get it, but they know my heart's in a good place, and they know I have they know I'm good at this. They feel like I was born to do it. Therefore, they're not threatened by me. Because I'm not coming at them trying to sway their points of view. I'm coming at them from the fact that I'm one of the rare people they know that is actually an expert at this stuff. And so they respect me. And that's what I see with your Neptune being in Scorpio in your first house. So you have, I didn't even notice. Yeah, the trident is right here. So you have Neptune. So you have all these things combating, these planets combating with each other. Jupiter, Neptune in the North Node wants you to grow and expand your spirituality. It is part of your life purpose. And you have Libra there. You can't get balance with your identity until you do these things, until you show everybody that it's okay to be who you are. You like these things. I'm sure you do this all the time, by the way. This is just your little battles that you're going to come up across in life. You're going to come across people who challenge your spirituality, who challenge you to grow, expand in that way, and change in that way. But when you change, everyone else changes around you, changes with you. So you're supposed to deep dive into the occult scientists and question things. You're a person that's supposed to question everything you were taught, spirituality, religion, all that stuff, and dig as deep as possible, and read. You have an endless, boundless curiosity for that. That is who you are, and you're always going to come across people, places, or things that challenge that in you, and you're always going to be the one to stand up for it, and they're going to sit down because you make sense. Then you have Pluto in Leo. So with your Pluto being in Leo, it means that you, again, grow and change when you roar, when you yell, when you scream about it, or when you just inhabit that innate pride for who you are. You transform as a Leo would transform. So with Pluto in Leo, it says original, inventive, charming, magnetic, dominant, powerful, authoritative, inspirational. But again, with that, we always have challenges. So with that, it's saying that you'll always encounter people that are going to be intimidated by you and this in you, and try to maybe fight you down, knock you down, or it's just almost like your pride that you exhibit is too much for people. Okay. But the good thing about it is, because you're so likable, they can't fight you for so long. People are going to follow you. It's like being a natural born leader. And given that you have it in your, which house is it again? Your 10th house. Yeah. So it's like, well, it's in your 11th house. That's how you deal with your outside world, people, how you deal with people in your workplace, how you deal with people you travel and come across. They might be intimidated by you, but they're supposed to. It's like you change people. Your presence changes people. Okay? So the biggest thing I gathered from your chart, and you have Juno, which is I'd like to touch on a little bit, in your in Cancer, okay, which is your 10th house. You're going to always naturally excel at careers where you deal with families, children, or you mother people in certain ways, or help families get together, and your relationships will always be harmonious if you kind of stick into this work, because it aligns with your relationships, okay. Just a hint there. um Let me see how long I've been talking. I don't want to overload you. All right, so I'm going to conclude this for now and come back in a minute. Or let me see, actually, if I have anything else to say. Let me do that. I'm not going to come back in a minute. Pardon me, didn't mean to interrupt your video like that. All right, so what I gather the most from your chart in conclusion is with your moon being in Pisces, like I said, you're naturally intuitive. You naturally have visions. You're gifted. You have psychic gifts. If you'd like to tap into these gifts more, we can talk at length about them. But for the most part, you have Jupiter, so in your first house. So every time you grow and you change within your identity of who you are, become more of who you feel you are on the inside and show it on the outside, your gifts will start to show up more. Meaning, like, that intuitive sense you have of knowing things, you'll know something, and if you trust it and believe it and show it on the outside and even say it to people out loud with your Mercury being in Gemini, boom, it'll happen, and everyone will believe you. Oh, she knows what she's talking about. They won't doubt you. And the more you become who you are, the more you'll start to see your gifts show up, because you have gifts. And I can't tell you exactly what they are, but I can tell you one of them is intuition, which means psychic abilities, seeing things. So if you close your eyes, you might get visions, and those visions will come true in certain ways. But it only happens with radical acceptance and trust in oneself, because you have that Neptune and Scorpio. You're going to always be confronted with the people or places or things that want to challenge you. You're the in you and call you dark. You're not dark. That's just across the bear, because you're so full of light, to be honest. You have Venus and Taurus. You have an innate sense of knowing how to naturally make a harmonious relationship, but you can't die on that cross. You can't die on that hill. You have to be an advocate for yourself, because you're an overgiver. You have Mars and Aries, which means you're a natural fighter. So you're going to fight for things you want. You have impulsiveness in you. You know right away what you want, how to make something happen, how to build it up. But again, don't die on that hill, because you grow and expand with change, because your Jupiter is in Libra. So balance that out. Balance out your identity. Balance out who you are and how you show up to people. Let other people in the situation around you work for you, because you have that innate sense with that Pisces moon, okay? Being in your 5th house, you're creative. Get creative with how you present yourself to people. Even if you want to play with them a little bit, it's fun. It'll be fun for you. You're a woman of the people. I'm telling you, man, I feel like it, but you are. And then with your North Node being in your identity, again, the more you show up as who you are, the more blessed and more comfortable you are in your skin, the more those challenges you have with other people or other things will fall to the wayside. Alrighty, so let me know how you feel about this. I had such a good time reading your chart. I could tell you a little bit about your past life. Let's see. Past life. Okay, so your cross bears with children and dating. Again, you in a past life you could have had a really hard time in your dating life, and it probably transcended into this life, in the early part of this life, just feeling like you just could not find the right person, and that was your karma for you to learn not to, like I said, die on a hill over there trying. No, you were supposed to learn in a past life to move through that energy quickly, to learn how to be adored, and to learn how to find one that adores you, who wants to nurture you, because you are the prize. You don't have a lot of bad past life energy here, so I'm not going to go into it. You have a very fortunate and blessed chart, and so there's no need to harp on like bad things. For you, it's just about being your best self always, and you can lean into travel. You heal when you travel. You heal when you lean into your relationships and your family. All right, so let me know how this was for you. Thank you so much.